everybody, and welcome back to the Hope You Hated podcast. I am Jack,
And I'm Josh.
as usual, and we are back again. This week, we are going to be having a conversation and taking a walk down memory lane using nostalgia as our guide and more of our memory, I think, than anything else. You could join us for a conversation about just movies and what actors make us think of specific performances and other things along that nature, right?
I love it.
Yeah. Before we do that, though, well, of course, we're going to jump into what came out recently. And I think both of us have something to say about a movie that just was released this past weekend. Do you know what that is?
I'm assuming you're going to talk about The Gray Man.
I am. I do want to talk about The Gray Man. The Gray Man was just released. It's a movie that we've been talking about and being excited for the past couple weeks. Netflix movie, Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans, Anna de Armas, even
Billy Bob
Thornton in it. And I don't want to spoil it because it just came out if you haven't seen it, but it's fantastic.
It's so good.
It honestly, surprisingly, maybe not surprisingly, I think that every actor in it is superb. All the way from Anna de Armas not only being strikingly beautiful, but also incredibly talented as an actress.
Hot as the sun.
Coming in and not being able to speak English and just learning English lines for movies, and then now speaks fluent English. Very cool.
Yeah.
And
incredible.
And as an action star, we saw her in the latest James Bond for like 2 minutes, and then in this, she was an action superstar.
Yeah.
It was incredible. Yeah. It was fantastic. So I can't really talk about that movie enough from a cinematic point of view, and even from like a story point of view. It was very cool. It did kind of take on a very similar Jason Bourne, John Wick assassin kind of trope, but it was cool how they gave this assassin who they had turned into basically a feelingless killing machine into having the feelings for caring for this young girl as his own daughter almost. And I thought that was really cool. But the action shots were incredible. The choreography was fantastic. They used drone footage for a lot of the action sequences and the transitions, and it was just really cool.
The movie was just beautiful.
Yeah.
Like I would say like the first 5 minutes, like it's just so pretty with all the colors and
fireworks fight. Like, I was like, is this what I'm in for?
Yeah.
Is this what kind of movie this is going to be? This is crazy.
Yeah.
So definitely I give it like at least an 8.5. The storyline being kind of like something we've seen before is what drags it down. Otherwise, it would have been a 10 out of 10. Like this, it was just really good.
Yeah, screw the haters and the critics and all the people. Like, it does not make any sense. This is why we started this podcast. Yes. Go to Rotten Tomatoes and look at this one. This is why we started this podcast, because it's so ridiculous. Like, I don't even know what to say. Like,
there really isn't much to say honestly about it, because you can watch it and, like I said, you can find holes in the story, and like towards the end there's a fight and he gets stabbed a couple times and you're like, okay, but like the whole time they've been hyping him up as this like badass. Like he literally can't be stopped. He's just mowing through people.
The
creativity
very much reminded me of his character in Drive.
Oh sure.
Just super that stoic but smiling at the same time, and
a psychopath. He's like
just getting stuff done. Yeah. It's so awesome.
Yeah, it was so very cool. Highly recommend. If you haven't seen it, please go watch it. It was fantastic.
How freaking ripped is he? Like, dude,
all of those guys.
Holy crap, he was so huge.
I know, he was jacked. Even Chris Evans was jacked, and Chris Evans plays a really good Psycho too. I mean,
he was great.
He was very convincing, very creepy. and just kind of off the rails. But yeah, again, can't say enough good things about it.
So
I don't
fun.
care what kind of critic score it's getting on Rotten Tomatoes. It's absolute nonsense. And I think you said it best the other day. If you watch that movie and you don't like it, this is not the podcast for you. Because as much as I find problems with things in movies, I can overlook some if I shut the brain off and just enjoy things. But that movie was kind of the epitome of both of our movie tastes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you don't like that movie, maybe find some other guys to listen to.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, we have all different tastes going all over the
not. I don't
place.
know.
Like, I mean, just this past weekend, I watched the Everything Everywhere All at Once, and it's such a different movie. So very artsy and creative and weird. Loved it. It was super
really
awesome. So it's like we do have a range. But holy crap, you put a movie like Gray Man in front of us, I will eat that up all day long. It was
100%.
just so fun, so great. I'm probably going to watch it again, probably not tonight, probably tomorrow night, with my brother, because he didn't get a chance to watch it. And I'm going to force him to sit down and be like, dude, no, this is going to be fun.
For sure. Again, definitely even worth probably a second watch just to see things that I didn't see. The action sequence is just fantastic. Anyways, so we spent a bunch of time talking about The Gray Man because it's absolutely worth it. If you haven't seen it, like I said, go watch it. Other than that, we're still looking forward to movies like The Bullet Train, which comes out very soon with Brad Pitt. It's very, very, very cool. Excited for that. Game of Thrones. House of the Dragon comes out soon. We're getting all kinds of teasers for Lord of the Rings and kind of just more updated information on that. We're excited for that. Even more importantly, and probably looking forward, if we can do a little bit of a jump ahead to next week's episode, we're going to be covering everything that was talked about and released for the next two phases of the Marvel Universe. There's a lot of stuff to unpack. So that'll be next week. But anyways, let's dive into this conversation about movies.
Let's do it.
Of past and actors and what they were in, because I have a really cool place to start for us.
Okay. Well, do we have rules to this game? Are we going to explain rules? Do I need to know the rules, or?
So I don't necessarily want to do rules. I think we should just have a casual conversation and see where the road leads us.
Okay.
And see how far down. What I would like to do is not use IMDb if at all possible.
All good.
I would not like to reference unless we have to, unless we're like, wait a minute, was that in it? Was that guy in that or not? Can we verify? Can we look it up? And then we'll do that. However, before we get started, this episode, of course, is sponsored by Jury of Wolves, your spot for urban apparel, clothing, and otherwise. I'm wearing the hat. I'm wearing the tank top. I don't know. What are you wearing?
The shirt and the shorts. I just got done showing them.
There you go. So we're wearing the stuff. If you're listening, juryofwolves.com. Get your gear. Get it. You know what I think they should give us?
What?
I think they should give us a discount code.
I'm
going to have to talk to the owner about that one, because I feel like we should have a discount code for as much as
maybe people just don't need to be cheap. If they want quality clothes, but
I feel like we should be ambassadors since we are sponsored by them. Anyways, we'll work on that. Maybe next week we'll have a discount code for you.
Does Kanye give discount codes?
Kanye charges $800 for a T-shirt, and
I know. I'm just saying he doesn't give discount codes. So should we stoop to that level?
Yes, we should, because we're better than Kanye, and I want the people to have access to the same merch that I have.
We want people to actually wear clothes. We don't want them to have to walk around naked or choose between food and rent or clothes.
That's right.
I can agree with you there.
All right, perfect. So next week we'll have a discount code, I think. I'm going to make sure that happens. Anyways, so no rules. We'll just kind of go with the flow with this one. See where we land. I think that you and I, in our generation, we have a lot of movies that kind of are like, oh man, that was like a movie of our generation. That was one that we look back on with fondness, and we could watch it no matter how many times we've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Jurassic Park we talked about last week, and it definitely is one of those ones. Like anytime Jurassic Park's on TV, you're not going to turn it off, right? Like I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna leave it on. It doesn't matter how many times you watch it. The original Lord of the Rings, the original trilogy. Anytime those are on, you're gonna be like, oh man, this is so good.
Yep.
Terminator, The Matrix. You know, there's just certain ones that no matter what, no matter how many times you've seen it, you're gonna watch it. You're gonna enjoy it.
Yep.
There is one that is kind of a underlier. It like flies under the radar, but yet
Mm-hmm.
every time and any of the actors are in it, you're like, oh man, I remember that movie. Anytime it's brought up, you're like, oh, that was such a cool movie. And it is The Mummy
The Mummy, dude.
with
It's my
with
mom's
Brendan Fraser.
favorite movie. It's my mom's favorite movie of all time. So I
What a
see that
classic!
movie a lot. Yeah.
What a classic! I'm talking about Brendan Fraser in his prime, which
Yeah.
is just a class act. I don't know if you've seen him recently, but he went
Mhm.
through some hard times.
Yep.
He had some things going on. He kind of like
People
fell
not
off.
being nice to him.
Yeah, he fell off the radar. And whenever he popped back up and he was on a show, I forget what show it was. They were interviewing him. It was on a live stream, and the overwhelming support of like his fans and the community, like he saw the kind of the replies and like what he was the comments that he was getting, and it like
Mhm.
almost brought him to tears with like how many people out there still supported him and like wanted to see him
Yeah.
do well in his career. It's like just seems to be just a great dude. And that movie has like classic one liners. It has crazy action. It
Mhm.
has some like scary horror. It has like the Indiana Jones exciting vibes. And
Mhm.
you know, I just thought that The Mummy would be a great place to start because not only is
It
Brendan
is.
Fraser awesome, but like there's some other really like key people in that like play in some other things.
It's so funny. The woman in that movie, I have never bothered to learn her name because since I can remember, we call her the Mummy Girl. Every time we see her in anything, we're like,
Dis-
"Oh, it's the Mummy Girl. It's the Mummy Girl."
disrespectful.
Because like I said, it's my mom's favorite movie. So like anyone who's in that movie, like I think my parents were watching Agents of Shield or whatever the other day,
Mhm.
and the Mummy Girl's brother in the Mummy
Mhm.
is is in an episode, and we're all like, "Oh, it's him from the Mummy." And
Yeah,
so
it's John
yeah,
Hannah is that guy's name, I believe. The Mummy
yeah.
came out in 1999, which was like
Hmm.
peak of our childhood, kind
Oh
of
yeah,
a teenagehood, and
I was
you know that
14
her name
rocking
is
it.
Rachel Weisz.
Rachel Weisz. I knew that.
Weisz.
I did know that.
Did you know she's married to Daniel Craig?
I did. I
Okay,
did.
so you got the wife of James Bond.
Mhm. Because there was a mention of them in the show Ted Lasso. I think
Okay,
it was Ted Lasso. They were talking about them.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
Well, before we, because I want to, I do want to take the leap from Brendan Fraser to Rachel Weisz because they're, oh man, the bridges from Rachel Weisz is so awesome.
Mhm.
Brendan Fraser obviously was in like some comedies. He was in what Biodome with Pauly Shore, which is a
Encino Man is probably my favorite movie of
Encino
his,
Man.
where
And he
he's
was
the
in,
caveman that's frozen.
yeah. What is it?
Oh,
Was
it's
it
so good.
Bedazzled with Heather Graham? I
S
think
something
is
like
that what it
that,
is?
yeah. I
Is it
didn't see that
Bedazzled?
one.
I'm not sure
So
if it's Bedazzled or not. It's it's something like that where he dates the devil,
yeah,
like he's the devil.
I can picture the movie cover.
I'm pretty sure is that what it's called? See, this is why
Do
we
not look it
need
up. We can't.
no. This
I
is why
just
we need
we need people
IMDb.
screaming at us.
No,
We need people screaming at us,
I'm pretty
telling
sure
us
I'm
what it
right.
is.
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure. All
let's
right.
just assume we're right.
So all right. So Brendan Fraser, great career. You know what would be the best thing of all time?
What's that?
So he's kind of making a comeback. He's in a bunch of things. He's in an A24 movie coming up called The Whale Man, which I feel like is rude because he like had put
Mm,
on some weight. He had some issues, the whole 9 yards, and now they're literally making a movie around this guy who like gains an incredible amount of weight and like they're using prosthetics and yeah, it's called The Whale Man.
yeah, interesting.
So
A24.
A24. I hate
That,
A24. But
yeah,
anyways, what would
could
be
be good.
awesome would
Mhm.
be another Mummy movie. Why
Yep.
not?
Well, I mean, that The Mummy is what started The Rock's movie career, right? It was
Pretty
his first
much.
movie role was, what was it, The Mummy
Scorpion
2?
King?
The Scorpion
Scorpion
King?
King. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was his first one, but it was pretty close. He was mostly CGI for half of that, though. Do you remember in The Mummy 2 when they show him as like the half
The
scorpion
half
and the half
scorpion?
man,
Yeah,
and he like
yeah.
crawls down the thing, and then he gives the eyebrow, the
Mhm.
CGI eyebrow. Oh my
So
god,
cool. He's
one
so
of the
cool.
worst movie moments of all time. Oh gosh, that was so
Yeah.
stupid. But anyways, think about the nostalgia factor for a Mummy movie in 2022, right?
Well, they did one.
No, not the one with Tom Cruise. That's a completely different. That was a completely different universe. The Tom Cruise
Okay.
Mummy was like in the monster universe, like
I
that they were
didn't see
planning on
that
doing.
one, but to me, the trailer kind of made me feel like they were trying to resurrect the Mummy
No.
series.
It's a different, completely
Okay.
different
Then
Mummy.
yeah, I'm down for it. I'm down
Bro,
for it.
we need the Indiana Jones style. We just got Jurassic World Dominion, which was
Mhm.
basically an Indiana Jones movie with dinosaurs.
Yep.
Why don't they bring the Mummy back? Bring all the cast back. Him and Rachel Weisz. They could be. I mean, he could do it. He just needs to lose a little bit of
Oh,
weight. They
she
do the
still looks just the same.
identical. Yeah,
It
it would
hasn't
be
aged
great.
a day.
It would
So
literally be
gorgeous.
amazing if they did that
Mhm.
and
I'm
just
I'm
like
totally down.
brought it in, bro. That would be incredible. Okay, so that's
Mhm.
what needs to happen. You know, right now.
Mhm.
I don't think it's on the radar, but I think if we got enough support, we could you know
If
we can make
all
it
of
happen.
our fans got together and
Yeah,
helped us sign a petition,
petition.
it'd be done overnight.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so jump into Rachel Weisz. What's the one movie that you think of besides The Mummy? Whenever you think of her, I mean, she's been in a million different things. So
Uh, Enemy at the Gates.
yes,
We were
great
just talking
movie,
about that one the other day.
great movie. That's
Mhm.
I want to go a different direction, but we can go. That's your first thought. We can go that way
Okay.
too.
Okay.
You know what?
I mean, you have Jude Law, you have
Yeah,
Ron Perlman, you
yeah.
have Ed Harris.
Hmm.
Like, it's
There's
oh my goodness, it's so
that's a
good.
pretty good
As
one.
far as sniper movies go, I mean, it may who knows? I do not know how realistic and whatnot it may be. It feels like one of the most realistic
Hmm.
sniper movies of all time, and the
I
fact that
like that.
he's so badass, like, just the opening scene where, like, they're handing out guns and he doesn't get bullets, because they don't have enough bullets to go around,
Yeah,
so he has to run with somebody when
and
that
then
guy
pick up the
dies, then
gun.
he
Oh
can pick up their
God, it's
bullets.
terrible.
Oh, and then he
That's
gets, like,
terrible.
trapped there in that fountain at the beginning, and he has
Hmm.
to time the
Pretend he's
sniper
dead.
shots. Oh my god, that movie is so good.
Yeah,
But
it is.
I
It
I
is. It is
will
good.
I will let you take it in the
No,
direction you are feeling.
we can go that way too. I also just want to see. This is where the spider web can go so many different directions. So
Mhm.
Constantine.
Constantine. Okay.
She's the girl in
Okay.
Constantine.
Yes. Yes, yes,
So
yes,
I mean,
yes.
she's also in a
Another
bunch
one
of.
of my
She's also in
favorites.
like a slew of. I mean, so many different movies you could just throw out there. She's in
Well, and of course, she's in the
Fountain.
new Black Widow.
She is her character was annoying in that. I mean, that whole movie was bad anyway. But whatever.
Mm,
It was
I
sad.
enjoyed that
Oh, it
movie.
was so bad. It was so bad.
Whatever.
It was
I
so
liked
bad.
it.
Anyways,
I liked
Constantine.
it.
You have Keanu
Mhm.
Reeves, of course.
Who's he?
That one guy that plays that one thing in the one movie. Um,
Neo?
oh right, yeah, Neo from the Matrix.
John Wick? Like
Oh, yeah, how did I forget that? Yeah, you have Keanu, you have Rachel Weisz, you have Peter Stormare, who is
Oh,
unbelievable
the
at everything he does.
best there's never been a Satan done in a
Better
show
than him.
that was
Yeah,
better. He
100%.
was
Hmm.
so perfect as Satan in that. It was incredible.
You,
God, I can't talk about his role in that enough. It was done like, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think about, like, the first time that I saw it and how much it knocked my
yeah,
freaking socks off.
so good. Peter Stormare also. I mean, he's in everything. I mean, from
Mhm.
Bad Boys to John Wick to he's the voice of Godbrand in Castlevania on Netflix, which is it was so good. He was so
Well,
good.
it's because he's got that perfect voice. It's
Yeah.
so good and creepy.
You have what's his face? The Jaimin Hanzo,
Jaimin Hanzo.
who plays Midnight, the
Midnight.
voodoo guy. You even by the way, that can just spiderweb into a million things. Jaimin Hanzo's been in so much. It's crazy. From Marvel to DC to everything. You have the guy who plays
Shia LaBeouf.
Well, I was gonna leave him to the end because, well, anyways, yes, Shia LaBeouf.
Too many haters.
Yeah, you have what's his face from Bush, Gavin Rossdale's
Oh
in
yeah,
it.
that's right.
He has the
Forgot
little
about that.
He does the little finger looking good.
The demon. Yes, he was really good.
Super good in that. Even the guy that has the one wandering eye, who always plays a like a serial killer or like a
the big heavyset dude.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah,
where he drowns. He somehow drowns in air. Doesn't he? Like he somehow drowns with. I don't know. It's really weird. But he's in that.
The magical spell in the liquor store, and he
Correct.
like drinks himself
to death. Yeah, without drinking. He was also in Identity with John Cusack. He played the all the different personalities.
That was creepy.
It was a crazy movie where he was like every single person. But yeah, so like that's the direction that I would go with Rachel Weisz, because like you just go whatever. But I think we should go back to Enemy at the Gates, because I like did a little branch there, and we can just blah 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 blah. I don't want to take it the easy route and go Keanu Reeves, because like, dude, I mean, we could go on forever about Keanu.
Yeah, I mean it's so hard to pick just one of his.
Let's go back to.
For being such a goofball, like what other person has been in so many like awesome movies? I mean, they may not be like top level blockbusters like Tom Cruise and stuff like that has done, but almost all of Keanu Reeves' movies are like, they're so good. They're so good.
I mean, he has and always will be a very, not that he's well-rounded, because I think he's fantastic and I aspire to be like him every day. But I think he plays like a very in one lane character, and that one lane can be drama, it can be action, it can be, horror a little bit, but like it's a very one lane, and he just plays it so well that no matter what the script is, he's going to act and deliver the lines like Keanu Reeves. It's always going to be a very solid. It's almost like the Nicolas Cage effect. Like, I know Nicolas Cage like has made some pretty bad movies, but it's always Nicolas Cage every time. Like, maybe that's a low budget, maybe the story's stupid, but it's like every time you know what you're getting going in. He's like kind of wild and crazy. He kind of like flails his arms all over the place, and you just get this performance. It's very dramatic. It's very over the top. Yeah, but it's, you know what you're getting, and the same thing with Keanu Reeves. It's a very straightforward. This is what you're gonna get, and it's gonna be awesome as long as the story and everything matches up. Now, like you take the newest Matrix, right? They made it for nostalgia and to make money, and the story was terrible. It was basically like a reimagined version of the first one, kind of ish, but he was still awesome. He was still Neo. He was still fantastic. I don't know. But anyways, let's go to Enemy at the Gates, a spiderweb from there, because you got Jude Law, which, I mean, he's been in a ton of stuff. I immediately think of Sherlock Holmes. Watson, right? Yes. I mean, obviously you're
killer Watson.
You're paired alongside Robert Downey Jr., and as long as you're somewhat competent, you're going to look fantastic.
Dude, talk about like a freaking killer series. Like, the fact that they didn't make 100 of those is a shame and a disservice.
There is a new one in production.
Yeah, give me 10 more, because that's like, those movies are so freaking good.
Yeah, they are.
Robert Downey Jr. is incredible. Jude Law is incredible. Guy Ritchie directing is just his directing style is so fun.
Yeah.
It's so good, and like so many twists and turn, and the way that he shoots things are so original. It's like he shoots things in ways that now like every other director is like, "Ooh, that's cool. I'm gonna do that
I'm
in
gonna
my
do
movie."
that. Yeah.
like,
Yeah. 100%.
like, oh, that slow motion fight scene with
Mm.
Sherlock Holmes, where he's
Yeah.
calculating
Calculates
everything and
everything.
moving out of
Yep.
the way. Bah! Oh yeah, that was so dope.
Very cool. We can definitely go the Robert Downey Jr. route. I mean,
Mhm.
what's your Jude Law go to?
My Jude Law go to. I
Alfie.
don't know. No, I don't know what it would be. Because I mean, I know I've seen him in everything, but I don't know. Like, I
Fantastic
enjoy
Beasts
him
as
and stuff,
Dumbledore.
but it's not like I see him and like
He's in so much stuff, and he's always good.
I
He's
know.
always solid. How about Repo Man?
Repo Man. I had forgotten about that movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while since I saw that one. But yes, I like
That's a
that
pretty
one a
cool one.
lot. Who else was in that one?
Repo Man. It was Jude Law. And off the top of my head, who was that? I don't remember.
I don't either. That's like I'm drawing a blank with Jude Law. It's like I know I've seen him in a million things,
Yeah.
and I always like I watch the movie and he's in it and I enjoy it. And then you're saying his name and like what else is he in? And I'm like, I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So also at Enemy of the Gates, I feel like we didn't mention Joseph Fiennes,
Mm.
who is the brother of Ralph, who plays Voldemort,
Mm-hmm.
and like a bazillion other things. I mean, he's the main character in Kingsman.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
See, I
he
think of
always
Red Dragon when I think of him.
okay, yeah,
Every time I think of Red Dragon, he did so good in that, and I'm
yeah,
a big Hannibal fan.
sure. What else for Jude Law though? I mean, besides,
I don't know. Maybe he hadn't been in anything else. Maybe we're
no,
just thinking
no,
we've seen him everywhere.
he's actually in so much stuff.
I know he
Um,
is. That's why I'm like, I don't
I'm
know.
trying to think. So Sherlock Holmes, he's
Mhm.
Dumbledore. He was in
A lot of romantic comedies.
romantic comedies. Yeah, Alfie.
Hmm.
He was in Cold Mountain, which was good.
Cold Mountain. What was that one?
That was the one with Tommy Lee Jones, I think.
I don't know if I saw that
Tommy
one.
Lee Jones and Tom Cruise's ex-wife. What's her name?
Nicole Kidman.
Yes, that's her. Yes.
I know that, but I don't know what else Jude Law's been in.
Well, that's okay. He's been in like I said, he's been in a ton of stuff. He was in that movie a long time ago, Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow. Did you remember that? It was like it had like Angelina Jolie. It was kind of like a fantasy, like
Maybe I saw it way back then. It does not ring a bell.
steampunk
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing going on.
I don't know. Not really hitting me.
All right. Well, also Ed Harris. You mentioned Ed Harris earlier.
Mm-mm.
Ed Harris. What's the number one movie you think of with Ed Harris?
Uh, Movie would be The Rock.
The Rock.
The
Absolutely.
show, I'm currently, of course, watching Westworld,
Oh, God,
and
so stupid.
he's one of the main villains in it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm telling you, so good. So
Yeah.
his character, the Man in Black, like, of
Mhm.
course, if your name in a show is the Man in
The Man
Black,
in
you
Black is
know
probably a bad guy.
you got a pretty cool role that you got to play,
Yeah.
and he is killing it. He is so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say movie-wise, I'd go with The Rock.
Okay. The Rock. I think that's a good one to snap to because The Rock. You have what? Nicolas Cage.
Mm-hmm.
You have Ed Harris. You
Mm-hmm.
have Sean Connery.
Sean Connery. Yeah.
Right? Like we can go all over the place. Some of the supporting characters in that, there was a lot of like mid-level action stars that were in a ton
Oh,
of
yeah.
action movies that played like
Yeah.
the lieutenants and the generals and
Yeah, the second you see him, you're like, I know who that guy is.
yeah,
I recognize him, but I
yeah,
don't know his name.
know
Yeah, it
his
had
name,
a
yeah.
lot of that kind of
A
stuff.
lot of those people because they needed a lot of cannon fodder for like the
Yeah.
like the shower scene. So in The Rock, right, that shower scene where like they get ambushed when they come up through the
Mhm.
drains ended up being in Call of Duty. Do you
Mm-hmm.
remember? I think it was in Black Ops. No, was it in Black Ops? It was in Black Ops or Modern Warfare. One of those, Modern
Yes.
Warfare 2. I don't remember. One of those games. Um, they did that exact like
Mm-hmm.
scenario scene, almost like scene for scene, and you have to play through it, which is pretty cool. But Ed Harris actually voices a character in Black Ops. I don't know if you knew
Oh
that or
yeah,
not.
I
Yeah,
did not know that.
which I'm if anybody's listening and knows exactly what game that they played, uh,
Mm-hmm.
they played that sour scene through, they're yelling at me because it may not be Black Ops that Ed Harris was the voice of. I was thinking that they were the
Yeah,
same game,
it's probably
and
like
that
Mario
wasn't.
Kart or something.
Yeah, probably something stupid like that.
Mm-hmm.
But Nicolas Cage's best role is what?
Mm.
There's so many.
Oh
There's
geez,
so many.
I wanted to blurt out Face Off, but then I also thought of Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yeah, both
Um,
both amazing,
both of those, I I
but
was I
not.
think in my teenage years, and so like they were so perfect for me at that time. I mean, just very like
Yeah,
great movies for that kind of age where it's like you weren't having to think too much. The fact that one
yeah.
person could remove the face and put it on somebody else, and it just Travolta, like he's awesome.
Travolta is good. I don't think that's his best movie. He's played in a lot of stuff recently. He played in one with Pedro
Mm-hmm.
Pascal that just came out.
Mm-hmm.
The Unbearable Weight of a Massive Talent, or whatever that one was.
Yeah.
Um, he played in a horror, like spacey. You should take acid and watch this movie kind of thing
Hmm.
last year. That was wild and crazy. Um, he just played in a lot of like weird things. The Wicker Man. He played in that weird movie where he was a knight, and it was like a
Mm-hmm.
fantasy movie. And then a bunch
So
of.
you keep naming weird movies, but you haven't picked one better than Gone in 60
I'm
Seconds.
getting there. I'm naming all of his weird
All
ones.
right, all right, all
He,
right,
he
all right.
he was in that movie Next, I think it was called, where he could see in the future.
Yeah, a couple seconds in the
Uh
future
huh.
and stuff like that.
That
Yeah.
was based on a book by Ted Decker, which
Mm-hmm.
actually is a very good book. The His best role is Con Air by far,
Mm. Yeah.
only because his accent is absolutely terrible.
Mm-hmm.
He's got that southern accent. Put the bunnet down
Yeah.
going on, and
Oh man,
it's
Con
hilarious.
Air.
But Con Air,
Con Air
wow.
is fantastic. It has so many good characters as well. I would still say that I prefer Gone in 60 Seconds over that one.
Why? Because it
But
has Angelina Jolie in it.
um I like her, but I like Giovanni Ribisi a ton.
Yeah.
Is like
Okay.
one of the most underrated dudes. He is so good in everything that he is in.
True.
Always kills it. That movie sparked for me a love of cars in
Okay.
such an interesting way. Like it was I mean the whole movie was about boosting cars and you were constantly seeing like all these really badass cars
I
all the
feel like
time.
they didn't.
That
They
was
didn't really like get. I don't know. It was interesting because they they showed cool cars, but they really only like focused on a few of them. Like I don't know.
mhm. The old Shelby
Yeah,
Mustang that was
Eleanor.
Eleanor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, oh
That
man.
was on. That's been
Who
on my
wasn't
bucket.
obsessed with that
Yeah,
car
that's been on my
for
bucket list cars
years after
for
seeing that
forever.
movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that was good. Okay, but lead me down your Con Air path because I say my favorite in that is Steve Buscemi's character.
Mm-hmm.
It's so creepy.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. Like I love when a person does creepy right, where it's
Yeah.
terrifying, yet you kind of laugh awkwardly at everything that they're doing. And then it's like you think that they're harmless and they do something, you're like, oh yeah, this is a bad guy. Like
Yeah. He's
he's
terrible.
terrifying.
He's got like, especially whenever they're like kind of nice sometimes,
Yes.
and then they're
And
like,
you get your guard down,
yeah,
and then you're like, "Oh,
yeah.
there come the fangs." Yeah, he
But
was
I
crazy.
think you're like forgetting some major players in Con Air, right? Like John
Hmm.
Cusack is in that.
Yeah, yeah.
John Malkovich is in that.
John Malkovich
Plays the
yeah,
main bad guy. You got
very cool
Ving
guy.
Rhames,
Yep.
who is also in a bunch of other things, including Mission Impossible, the whole Mission Impossible series.
Mhm.
You have almost most importantly, Dave Chappelle is in
Dave
it.
Chappelle.
He plays pinball, the guy that gets frozen inside the landing gear.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Remember he goes and tries to pick up the girl when
Yes.
they land on his lunch break. Come on, girl, and then he
It's
has to.
been forever since I see that. I forgot about that until you're talking to me about it, and now I'm, like, starting to picture it, but yeah.
Dude, he tries to run after the plane because they forget him, and he
Mhm.
jumps up on the thing, and then they find him frozen and dead
Yeah.
up in the air. Oh, that's great. Dave Chappelle.
Mhm.
I mean, Danny Trejo's in it, who plays
Yes.
that same character in every movie he's ever been
Every
in.
movie, but kills it every time.
Every
You
time.
want consistent,
Yeah.
you go with him. It's
Yeah.
like it's always gonna be exactly what you want. He is perfect and scary, yet kind and perfect.
Then Steve Buscemi, right? Like you mentioned. I
Mhm.
mean, Steve Buscemi can
Buscemi's
go.
my man. He's my
Yeah.
man.
Imagine having that face and becoming that famous.
I think that there's
No
certain
offense to the
things.
man. He's awesome.
Oh, yeah, but I think that there's something when it comes to movies that not everyone can be a Ryan Gosling and Chris
Well,
Evans.
yeah, of
Like,
course.
you can't have every character in your movie looking so perfect all the time. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta have people that look a little bit different, that, kinda do their own thing. It gives some good, I guess, feel and diversity to it in a good way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What's the number one movie for Steve Buscemi that you think of?
I would think either Big Lebowski or Fargo.
Okay.
Trying to
Fargo.
go
I
through
would
it.
say yeah, Fargo is a good one. I find it
That has
hard to
Peter
believe.
Stormare,
Yeah, it does, but I also find it hard to believe that
William
you
H.
didn't
Mason.
mention Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs.
Mhm.
Either one of those. Or
Yeah.
almost more importantly than both of those, Monsters Inc.
Mm. Voice acting is kinda cool. I've seen Monsters, Inc., but I if Fargo's ever on TV, I'm watching it. Like,
Yeah.
doesn't matter if it just came on or if it has 5 minutes left, I'm sitting there and watching it. Um, Big Lebowski the same way. Reservoir Dogs, that one has been a while since I've
Yeah.
seen. I think that one, it was darker and more gruesome, that it wasn't one that generally you would find playing on TV very much.
Yeah.
Um, Pulp Fiction, yeah, that one not as much as well. I guess there were like different ones that were, harder um to kind of dumb it down for TV, that until you started getting some channels that were a little bit more ballsy and could play some crazier things, you weren't
Mhm.
really seeing those. So unless I was going to get a DVD or whatever, and now, of course, with streaming and stuff, but then, like, with some of those movies, it's very different because they said before, it was you'd walk by the TV and you'd see something on, or you were sitting there on Saturday and you're like, what's there to watch? And you're just flipping
Mhm.
channels and that's on. You stop there and then you get hooked right back into it. Like now, I've seen Reservoir Dogs who knows how many times, that when I'm
Sure.
thinking, what movie do I want to watch tonight? It's not one that I go back to.
Sure.
But at the same time, I love it. And if it were just on and playing, I'd sit down and watch it. That it's weird how times have changed so much. So there's so many good movies that I would gladly rewatch if they were just almost forcefully thrown at me.
Mhm.
And instead of me having to go, like, I mean, there's countless, countless movies to pick at any point in time, to like have your brain even pop that up until we start talking. I mean, even when you mentioned Steve Buscemi, like I said, I started thinking Fargo and
Mhm.
just Coen Brother movies and stuff like that. Because he was in Raising Arizona, wasn't he?
Raising
with
Arizona.
with
Isn't that
John
Nicolas
Goodman
Cage?
and Nicolas Cage. That may be my favorite Nicolas Cage movie, actually.
Yeah, that's
And
Nicolas
I'd
Cage.
forgotten all about it. Raising Arizona was my first experience with the Coen brothers, and it was so freaking great.
Raising
But
Arizona. Was he in that?
I feel like he was, because it was
Steve
like,
Buscemi?
because if it wasn't him, then who was? I don't know. I don't
What?
know now, because I feel like Buscemi's in like all the Coen brother movies. So I
Okay.
think Coen brothers, and I'm like, yeah, he's probably in there somewhere.
All right. This is one we got to look up. When was Raising Arizona? When did that come out?
Like 93, maybe. I don't know. I'm guessing.
I let me look it up here because I don't think so. Let's go.
Now that I
Raising
think about it,
Arizona.
so because I was trying to think, was he?
It's Nicolas Cage. I
It's
don't.
got Nicolas Cage,
Yeah.
John Goodman, and
Yeah.
I was trying to think, was he like partners with John Goodman in that? But he wasn't. The guy that played his brother was a
No.
different guy.
No Steve
But
Buscemi
then,
in Raising
yeah,
Arizona.
yeah,
So
Coen brother movie, no Buscemi. That's a tragedy.
that is a
John Goodman,
tragedy.
though, made up for it with his stellar performance, and then
I feel
those
like
guys teamed up later for other Coen
I
brothers.
feel like you lose because you brought in a movie first Buscemi that he was not in,
But we talked
and I
about
think
Nicolas Cage.
but I think that now you're just
Okay, it's
retconning back to
always,
Nicolas Cage.
yeah,
No, what I would like to do. All right, so we
do it.
didn't start out this and say, hey, like we're gonna do the Kevin Bacon 7 degrees to Kevin Bacon thing.
Hmm.
However, not that
Hmm.
I want to tie all this into Kevin Bacon. I do want to tie this back to where we started. So
Hmm.
we mentioned Nicolas Cage, Con Air, Steve Buscemi, all of these great actors in
John
Con Air,
Malkovich.
John Malkovich, John Cusack, but I mentioned Ving Rhames. And
Hmm.
Ving Rhames was in the Mission Impossible, is in the Mission Impossible
Hmm.
series, starring
Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg, yes, Tom Cruise.
Who's that?
And Tom Cruise was just in, as you mentioned, a movie called The Mummy.
Yep.
And The Mummy is where we started. Now, not the same mummy,
Hmm.
but The Mummy nonetheless. And that brings the title of the movie that we started with full circle.
I like it.
How do you feel about that?
I like it. Can we spend a little bit more time on Mission Impossible, though?
Yes,
If we're
because
going to be doing
it
that.
has it has it has a lot in it as
Oh,
well.
yeah. That the Well, speaking of Face Off, the
Yeah,
way they do
the
you
mask.
can never tell who's who, and they have the
Mm-hmm.
mask and the voice changer.
Mm-hmm.
I I know you guys already think I'm dumb, and you think I'm dumb, but it fools me every time someone shows up, and it's like catches me completely off guard. They rip off the face, and it's like, oh shit, I never saw that
I
coming.
didn't
Like
see that coming at
every
all.
time, it's so good. The
That's
action
funny.
scenes and that kind of stuff. Those movies are great. All of it. They do such a freaking good job with all of those movies. Isn't there like, I don't know, how many are there now?
6?
6. And the sixth one is, did it just, I'm trying to remember, because I feel like I don't feel like I've seen the last one. So is it just got out of
Um,
theaters, about to be in theaters? What's their
no.
timeline for that one?
There's a new trailer for Dead Reckoning, which comes out next year, and it's going to be the finale in 2 parts.
Okay. That's what I
Um,
knew, that I knew that there was supposed to be a new one, but I couldn't remember if it,
uh,
because you know me, I don't go to theaters anymore.
yeah,
I
the
just,
last one was Fallout, I believe.
okay.
So the first one came out in 1996. It was a fantastic movie.
Mm.
The first one is classic. Um, the series. Let me get to the series where it goes. Okay, so the first one came out in 96. The second one, Mission Impossible 2, that was the John Woo one where it was kind of like
Mhm.
dramatic and I don't know. It was weird. That had Zoe Saldana in it, I think, who's in Guardians of the Galaxy. Let me make sure that was the right. Nope, it was Thandie Newton, the girl that looks like her. Never mind. Mission Impossible.
I'm just shaking my head, agreeing with you either way.
Yeah. You just say yes. Number 3 came out in 2006, and then 4 came out, which was Ghost Protocol. That one came out in 2011, so it was 5 years later. Then you had Rogue Nation, which I liked a lot. That one is where I think they introduced Hawkeye. What's his name? Jeremy Renner. Yes, Jeremy Renner. And that one was super good. But they also introduced a new female character in that one that looked eerily similar to Tom Cruise, Ethan Hawke's wife. So there was like 2 girls that were very similar in facial features. That like one was his wife and one was like a spy for another country that he thought to start working with, and like started to really throw the timeline off. It was very confusing.
I need to look up if I saw the newest one, because you're saying
that one was 15. That one was in 15, and then the newest one was Fallout, and that one came out in 18, and that one had Henry Cavill.
Yes, I know. I definitely saw that one,
and that one has the famous pop the biceps, cock them, boom, boom, and get ready.
Cavill's got that sexy stash going on.
That's right. Henry Cavill, we could just go down the rabbit hole as well.
So freaking awesome.
Superman, The Witcher, he's awesome. That one also has Vanessa Kirby, who I feel like you should look up.
I'm not looking anything up.
No,
my hands are tied. I handcuffed myself to the chair.
In general, I think you should look up Vanessa Kirby as an actress. She's very talented. Okay, so moving forward from Mission Impossible, because Dead Reckoning comes out next year, and I'm very excited for that. And then that's a 2-part series, so it's going to come out in 23 and then 24 as the finale. And I'm really excited to see Tom Cruise run some more, because he's really good at that.
His running is pretty good.
He's awesome at running. But yeah, so Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise to The Mummy. The newest Mummy was not great. Tom Cruise's movies are typically awesome, but this one was kind of. Did you see it or no?
I didn't end up seeing that one. No,
I mean it had Russell Crowe in it, and it was still not great. You know, I think it was because the girl that plays the Mummy. She's been in a bunch of different things. She was in Hotel Artemis. She's just the bat. You remember the girl in Kingsman that had like the knives for hands or knives for feet? It was like Camille.
Yeah, I liked her a lot.
Yeah,
in that movie, in the Kingsman.
Yeah, but she plays the Mummy in the Mummy.
Kingsman was so good. I liked the first one a lot.
Yeah, but that's from. Is that from the first one, or is it the second one that she was in?
No, the first one.
Oh yeah, because that was Samuel L. Jackson.
The second one was hot garbage.
Yeah.
The first one was awesome.
Awesome, yeah. Because in the first one, Samuel L. Jackson played like that. Like he was the bad guy, but he was like a goofy teenage bad guy.
Yeah, he had like the lisp and everything.
The lisp and the hat backwards.
And he loved McDonald's.
Yeah, dude, so weird.
It was so weird. But that fight scene in the church is one of the coolest choreographed fight scenes in movies. Yeah. That is one, like, I could watch that fight scene over and over again, and it's so well done. Of like every single movement has a purpose of like either attacking or blocking or something. Like it's everything is so well done in that, and so brutal.
I didn't realize that Mark Hamill was in the Kingsman, the first one.
I do not remember, to be honest.
Yeah. Also, just as a side note, speaking of Mark Hamill, because he's awesome, but Mark Hamill is going to be in the new, the guy who made the Netflix shows Midnight Mass.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm not gonna be able to remember the director's name. Oh, Mike Flanagan. Mike Flanagan. His new show is called The Fall of the House of Usher, and that's like
Mm-hmm.
his new scary thing that's happening.
Okay.
Mark Hamill's in that,
Interesting.
as well as a bunch of other people. But I did remember that Mark Hamill posted about that. Mark Hamill also was in the latest season of What We Do in the Shadows, which if you haven't seen that TV show, it's so good.
Mm-hmm. I have not seen the latest season,
Oh my gosh.
but I did know, I don't know if you know this, he's in Star Wars.
Mark Hamill, no way.
Mm-hmm.
Who does he play? He's an Ewok, isn't he? He looks kind of like an Ewok.
He does play an Ewok.
I knew it. Good for you, Mark Hamill, getting work.
Mm-hmm. Getting work.
I heard he
for
played
all these years.
he played a voice character in some superhero show too.
Yes. Yeah. He's the Joker in Batman.
He was the Joker in Batman. No.
The Batman the animated series.
No, I thought he was Dr. Freeze.
No. Now you're thinking of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, he was the he was the Doctor. No, Arnold Schwarzenegger was Poison Ivy.
God, we're getting all mixed up. What would we do without IMDb?
For the record,
is one thing that I do like.
For the record, I have to clarify, and I hope that nobody that just listened all the way to the end thinks any of that was serious. Mark Hamill is hands down the best Joker that has ever been. And Arnold Schwarzenegger has been the best Dr. Freeze that has ever been. And everybody knows that he's the best Luke Skywalker that has ever been. Anyways, all right, so that was cool. I had fun chatting about movies that I didn't think about until this evening.
Yeah, you brought up a lot that they popped back in my head, and it was really like scraping the outer layers of my brain to try remembering different pieces of it. And like Dave Chappelle being in Con Air, like totally had forgotten about that.
That's one of the coolest things about watching older movies, though. It's like you watch it and you're like, oh my gosh, I know that person.
And I'm so surprised. Like for a really long time, I wouldn't rewatch movies unless it was like if they were in like my top 2 or 3, I would rewatch them a lot. Sure. Like I've seen things like Fight Club, but close to 100 times. Things like Snatch or I don't know what else. All these kind of movies. Like I've seen them a ton of time. But then if it was like anything outside that realm, something like a Con Air, like unless it was on TV, it wasn't in my top category. So I wasn't like going out of my way to watch it until like recently I started going back and rewatching some things that I know that I had seen before and kind of remember liking, but it was just like, I'm in the mood for this genre right now.
Yeah.
And I'm just blown away. Like my memory is pretty good. Like you can remember the plot of a movie. You can remember the twists in a movie and how it ends and all this kind of stuff. But it's the little things in between, the way that the character, and the actors, they're little things that they do that really make a movie stand out. Maybe the way that a director does something, the way that something's shot that you're like, this is why I like this movie so much. It wasn't the ABC like storyline going here and the way that it ends and the twist. It was like the little things in between the lines are what made me love this movie. And those are the kind of things I feel like I forget so much that going back and rewatching some of these things, I rewatched the Departed the other day. It was like, this movie is so good. Like, why have I not rewatched this? And like I said, I knew the really big parts of that because that has a lot of twists and turns. And I knew that those things were coming and I knew about them. And so that's why I was kind of hesitant to do it because I was like, that's not going to hit me the same way.
Yeah.
But seeing DiCaprio's performance and Nicholson's performance and Wahlberg, and like all those guys, it was just like, this is so good. It was like fantastic through and through. There was so many little things that I had forgotten about it that I really enjoyed going back and rewatching that one.
For sure. I like it. So it's always fun to take a jaunt down memory lane, as it were.
I can do this for hours.
And if you're listening, I hope you enjoyed. And we brought up movies that you hadn't thought of in a while.
Yeah, I think next time we do this in like we'll do a podcast-a-thon, and we'll do 24 hours of this straight.
Just
see if we can keep it up for 24 hours without having to go to IMDb. And if we mess up like I did tonight, we lose and we have to go to bed.
I think that I would just give it a couple hours and then lose on purpose.
Week. I could do this all day, not get bored.
Yeah, that's true.
It's my thing.
I like it. But anyways, if you did make it this far, thanks. And I hope that at some point along this episode, you were screaming and being like, this movie, that guy was in this movie. And then we like didn't mention your favorite movie of that actor, because that would be very frustrating. And I think that would be very fitting with the theme of our show, which is, I hope you hate it.
Hope you hate it.
Anyways, thanks for listening, and see you next week for the Marvel breakdown.
Later, taters.